was younger, I was always obsessed with the idea of how TV worked. I think from the age of 4, I couldn't even work out how people were inside the TV. And I always just used to speak to my parents. I was like, how can I get a job in entertainment? How can I do something that I enjoy and get paid for it at the same time? And I came from a really tiny little village in Norfolk, so we had no kind of connections. There wasn't much I could really do in the idea of entertainment. So I used to write my own little radio shows and record them on cassette and then play them to everyone at school. And that led to me going into stage school, led me into becoming a dancer. And then I moved to London when I was 19 and decided that I wanted to learn how TV worked and started going for auditions. I think being a TV host depends on the kind of show you present. I think for me it's definitely learning to be a good listener, because an interview isn't so much just question and answer, it's a conversation. So instead of writing out a list of questions that you want to ask, it's more about listen to what someone's saying and then ask them about what they've just said. And I've learnt that throughout actually becoming a presenter and with each job I've done. With the kind of shows I do, it's about being upbeat, it's about letting the person who you're interviewing being able to trust you. I suppose with the job I do, it's about being as reactive as possible. I think I've done a variety of shows and each one's been really special in its own way, but I've always been attracted to entertainment shows, family entertainment shows, live TV shows. I think the reason I work in TV is because I get a creative buzz out of everything I do. Every day is different, every show is different, and I think I'm drawn to also working as a team. I think when I first got into presenting, I thought that being the presenter you were separate to everyone else, but it's so important that you work as a team, not just on your own, and learn how the production works, because that's really important rather than just standing there and reading a script. And it's also, I find it really important, like write your own script, put it into your own words, and more importantly, write your own questions. I always think it's important to have a good night out with your whole team before you start on a show, because if you go into a room full of strangers, it's always going to be a little bit static because you've got to get to know each other. It's sort of like becoming a family. It's like becoming a big group of friends. It's working away when you work abroad. Almost is a lot easier to make a TV show because you have to get to know each other so well, and you do become like this little team that makes something. The project is all of yours. So friendship is really important when making TV. I think probably the most challenging moment for me working on live TV was probably working on The X Factor when I hosted the main show with Ollie, and that purely came with the pressure of it all. And there were moments that sometimes went a little bit wrong and you had to try and work your way around it, and at the time it felt like the worst moment, the worst thing that could ever happen. But looking back, it was just a learning curve, because, you know, at the end of the day, you're making entertainment shows, you're not saving lives, but it is your job and you're trying to do it the best you can. And things go wrong, you learn from them and you move on. It's sometimes in live TV when things go wrong, it can be fun. There was a moment when I used to host The Jungle and we'd written the whole script and I was reading it all on autocue and we'd rehearsed the show. And during the show, Katie Price had walked out. So my producer said in my ear, "Don't want to alarm you, Katie Price has just walked out The Jungle. What you're about to read on your autocue will be completely different to what you read in rehearsal, but just go with it." So I was like, I couldn't say anything back to her because I was on TV. But I just did it. And it was that buzzy live feeling that you get. And by the end of the show, everyone was like, "Hey, that was great." But that's TV, it's really enjoyable. Advice to working as a TV presenter is get to know what every single person's job is on TV, in the production. No one's more important than anyone else. Everyone is vital to that production. And once you know how everything works around you, it makes your job a lot easier. And I think everyone knows that with each other. Yeah. But that's the fun part. Learn how the creative process works in TV. And it's such a fun job to have.